Welcome to Cybersecurity Growth, a show for aspiring and existing cybersecurity leaders. I'm your co-host, Sean Valley, founder and chief strategist of Cybersecurity Growth. I'm also a musician here on Twitch and elsewhere under the name Music by SV, but more on that later. Welcome to episode number 26, Resume Workshop number 1. And hello to my co-host, Garrett Gross. Hey, Garrett.
Hello, Sean. How are you?
Good. Happy, as of recording day, it's a Wednesday, so not that everybody watches this on Wednesday, but happy Wednesday, hump day.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy hump day to you.
We're almost there.
We're almost there. We're halfway there. Living on a prayer.
What an interesting period for security. This is usually the time where like all the horrible things happen leading up to the holiday break. I'm just like bracing for all of our comrades out there.
I feel it's I don't know. I mean, Log4j was, what was it, late November? Wasn't that late November? And that wasn't like
so.
Bad guy doing bad thing. That was actually good guy found a bad thing and realized we got to go fix this. But yeah, it is it's about that time of year where people wanted to really do awful things and kind of ruin people's holiday breaks. It is very true. Since it is, as we're recording this during the holiday season, you and I were chatting last week. We tried to do a show last Friday. I couldn't get my stuff together to hit the record button, but we both started talking about Christmas trees last time we got together. And I thought before we dig into things, because you've educated me on something about the Christmas tree that I think is different from my experience. I was like, I have to talk about this on the show. So I will start by saying, for the past few years, my spouse has said to me, hey, can we stop buying, real trees, chop them down, bring them home trees, or just go to the, parking lot down the street and, buy a chopped down tree and bring it home. And can we buy a fake tree? For me, my entire existence on this planet, living in New England, for me, it's always been about that, watching that tree kind of, die in my living room.
It's part of the holiday magic. Yeah.
But last year, around this time, there was a store that sells like, Christmas tree ornaments and things like that. And they were going out of sale and, they were going out of business, and they were selling all of the, everything they had in the store. And so I was like, oh, the fake Christmas trees are like 50% off. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll do it. And so we bought a fake Christmas tree, not one that was like a display on the floor, but we bought one that was in a box. And so a month ago or so, I took the thing out of the box and stood up. I've never seen a fake Christmas tree being put together. It's like 3 pieces to put it together, but you have to like pull apart all like the fake branches to make them. Yep. I swear to God, I spent like 3 hours pulling these branches apart to try to make them look like a tree. And my family's like, that looks terrible. Like it was the Charlie Brown look, Charlie Brown.
You're like, I know it's not a real tree, which is what you prevented me from getting.
It was not fun. Anyways, long story short, I finally, after hours, nights sitting there while everyone's watching TV, me doing this by myself, we put the lights on. The tree looks nice. Like the fake tree does look kind of real. Anyways, that's my story. We now have a fake tree, which means I don't think I will ever buy a Christmas tree ever again.
That's funny. Well, I told you I grew up with my stepdad insisting that we have living trees, which is like one step even weirder. So we had like a tree in a bucket that we would decorate with ornaments. And when we were done, we would go plant the tree outside in Las Vegas.
I'd never even heard of that until you told me this the other day. A living tree, so like an actual 100%. like a plant.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You buy a tree in a bucket. Like, is it like 5 feet tall?
No, I mean, it was big. It reached the ceiling. It was a big ass tree. Yeah.
Wow. And then you plant it? I mean, what a great idea.
Again, I don't want to give anyone the address, so you'll somehow figure out more about me than you should know. But like, yeah, you can drive by the house today and there's like 8 Christmas trees in the front yard. It's nuts.
I would think it's Las Vegas. There is no water in the ground as far as I understand with Las Vegas. It's the desert, but you plant trees there.
There's not. Pro tip, you have to install a commercial grade irrigation system to get that working. And that's exactly what we did. So never again. I also have a fake tree in my
Do you?
house.
Yeah. Fake tree.
Of course I do. Yeah, there's no way.
Uh,
No one's got time for
since
that.
actually since it's the holiday season, I usually have some type of beverage, not usually an adult beverage, but usually like coffee or water while we do the show. This is a coffee mug that you gave me as a Christmas present a few years back. You
I
sent it to
love
me
that.
from Blue Bottle.
Yeah, home of the best coffee on earth. This podcast not
Yeah.
sponsored by Blue
I
Bottle
love this. I
yet.
love this little cute mug here. I love this thing. I
That's,
appreciate it. Thank you.
I saw it and I said, "Wow, that's cute," and I thought of you.
All
So
right. Okay, hey, let's do a quick shout out to some of our new followers. I was looking on YouTube. We're at like 250 something followers. Thank you, YouTube people. Appreciate you so
that's
much.
great. Yeah, thank you.
We record live on Twitch, so I'm going to say thank you to the new folks who have followed us on Twitch since the last time we got together. So thank you to Floor Sleeping. Thank you to Yahosef44, Super Issy. Thank you.
Okay.
Exploitch, Thank you.
Exploit ch.
Oh, so now it's like China.
Yeah, exploit China. Okay. Is
I
that
like
a call
my
to
name better
action?
than yours. Exploit. Exploit. Travis Sasm. Thank you.
Travis Asm.
Yeah. And then
Sounds
this
like an
one just
attack.
followed us earlier today. Colonel Panic 10100111010. Thank you for the follow.
Now, is that spelled like colonel, like Colonel, like
No,
a military colonel, or
no,
like the colonel in an operating system?
like an operating system kernel.
Okay, cool. Right on.
Yeah. So thank you all for them follows.
By the way, done plenty of floor sleeping in my day, let me tell you.
Yes.
Lots of sleepless nights.
We have passed the 200 follower mark on Twitch and the 250 on YouTube, and I keep seeing people are downloading the audio podcast. So thank you.
We're basically internet famous at this point.
We are
so
there. We are there.
It's great.
All right. Before we get into the full show today, something that we do every time we get together, Garrett, I want to ask you a question. Hey, Garrett, who you wearing today?
Well, it's funny because I wasn't wearing anyone earlier, and then I realized, oh crap, I got to put on some security gear. I was wearing just like some t-shirt from my kid's school, but today I'm wearing a hoodie from the EFF. You can get yours also by donating. I think it's like $100 a year to the EFF, which it's a worthwhile cause. They help protect your online privacy. But then also underneath the hoodie, I'm repping Dee today. Dee is the antagonist from the curricula security awareness training software that actually used to work at the company that bought the curricula company, but it's a fun security awareness training course, and I'm not shilling for them, but I am absolutely advocating for security awareness training. No matter how you do it, get it out there, let your people know how to, be stewards of your security posture at your own organization.
Nice. Oh, and yeah, you said you're not chilling anything. That's actually something we should probably say. This "Who Are You Wearing" segment is not sponsored. These are just shirts,
Never.
shirts, hoodies, hats, socks that we wear. Not saying.
Now, with that being said, if any of the vendors would like to sponsor us,
yes, we will take all the sponsorships. But as of today,
absolutely,
this whole segment is unsponsored.
No, totally.
And we've been doing it ever since the show started a few years back.
And just to remind folks why, it's because Sean and I's wardrobe is 95.7% comprised of security t-shirts that we get from jobs we've worked at or conferences that we attend. So, is what it is. Well, I'll turn the attention back on you, sir. Who are you wearing?
Well, it's interesting. I got good lighting in this room, but I don't think you can even see it. It's one of those. I get the lights on it. There it is. There you can almost see something. So I think it's an interesting shirt. I got this at Black Hat this summer. It is from Red Canary. So if you're not familiar, Red Canary is one of the preeminent MDR vendors in the space. I think the shirt is super interesting because their name is Red Canary, yet somehow it's a black on black shirt. So as you saw, like the shininess a little bit for those who are watching on video, it is their canary logo, but it is in black on the arm.
It looks like something that you wear to the club.
Yeah.
Well, except for that.
Yeah, I get on. I feel like I'm going to the club.
Yeah.
So little Red Canary.
Love it.
There we go. Well, thank you, Garrett, and that's who we are wearing today. All right, before we get into the things today, and now a word from our sponsor Here we go.
One of these days, we're going to do an actual spot for this. I'll do the voiceover. I'll do my movie announcer voice. It'll be great.
For anyone who doesn't know this yet, on my other Twitch channel and YouTube channel, Music by SV, there is a very large intro when I do that show. And the video is all me doing different musical things, and the audio is all Garrett. And it's, to me, one of my favorite things. So we probably should do that for the show over here.
I'm happy to
I love
contribute.
that intro so much. And so anybody who watches my music live streams, they kind of wait for that like segment. Sometimes I do it right at the beginning. Sometimes I do it in the middle, but people dig it.
In a world.
That's kind of what it is. Okay. This week we are sponsored by Cybersecurity Growth.
Sponsored by ourselves.
Is your business prepared for today's cyber challenges? At Cybersecurity Growth, we don't offer just consulting. We provide trusted, real-world expertise to protect what matters most to your organization. From cybersecurity assessments to strategic roadmaps, Cybersecurity Growth brings the experience you need to turn security challenges into lasting strengths. We've helped companies navigate critical incidents and build strategies to reduce future risk. When a mid-sized tech company faced a data breach, we partnered with their team to contain the threat, restore operations, and implement measures to strengthen their defenses for the future. We're trusted by clients across tech, finance, and life sciences to provide the guidance they need to secure their businesses and safeguard their customers. Ready to protect your business? Visit cybersecuritygrowth.com/contact for a free consultation.
Proven results from Cybersecurity Growth.
See, we should have you read these. This is what you do.
I'll do it next time. You did a fine job. I'll do it next time, and I'll add some cheekiness to it.
All right. We got to move things along because we only have a Zoom window to work with. So we are going to cover some Nerd Zone topics today and then get into our hot topics. So Garrett, I'm going to pass it to you for some Nerd Zone. What's in the news?
I was just thinking I'm just going to buy the Zoom business thing when we're done here so we can have unlimited Zoom meeting.
We're so cheap.
I mean, we're basically a startup. It's, two people here. Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. LastPass breach. Everyone remembers the LastPass breach from 2022. Well, for a thematic, the gift that keeps on giving during this holiday season, they recently found out that around $5.3 million has been stolen from over 40 victims' wallets that were linked to that 2022 hack. So not too much detail on that. I mean, again, it's maybe there are preventive measures that those folks could have employed, but just the point being that those types of password hacks, they keep coming back because people don't change their passwords. Even though they get the notice that their credentials are compromised, they don't do anything about it. And so that's kind of what we're seeing is repercussions, reverberations, whatever from that type of activity.
Wow, that's unbelievable. For many years I was a big advocate of LastPass, and then it was a series of incidents, and to hear this dollar amount of loss, that's crazy. You said wallets, so this was the hack got into their crypto wallets, right?
That's
because
right.
people were putting their creds in LastPass, and that's what
That's
bad guys
exactly
were
right.
targeting.
Yep. And again, nothing against LastPass or Bitwarden or 1Password, any of those other password vaults. The message here, though, is it's not a bury your head in the sand solution. You can use one of those password vaults, but when they inevitably get breached, you have to do something about it. There's no easy button in security, just kind of a constant reminder of that.
Yeah.
A large health chain in California, Presbyterian Intercommunity Hospital, PIH, which is kind of funny because they're a hospital and they have PHI. They're also breached, and 17 million records were compromised of folks in their system, which, again, just a reminder, no one is escapable from this. Bad actors are going to target health systems, the most vulnerable. So those of you in the health, area that deal with PHI, remain vigilant because the stuff you're going to continue to be targets of these types of attacks.
Man,
It's bad. It's bad. And again,
PIH, losing all that PHI. That's what I was getting at.
PIH
Like
losing all
my acronyms were like
that.
all intermingled.
Of course, I'm
PIH,
sitting there
losing all that.
going when I'm writing this up, but nothing funny about
No,
it.
it isn't.
It is what it is.
It
All
isn't.
right, let's get to it.
Okay, so our hot topic this week, some of you know this, we've been offering this resume workshop for months. We've been talking about it on all of our shows. We've now received a few resumes. We are looking for more, so you can send us your resume. Usually what we do when we get a resume, we remove all the personal information, all the personal details. We take off your name. We remove your address, your company names. We want to make sure that we're not doxing you when we do this. But then we review the resume for the first time live on air. Both Garrett and I have been hiring managers in multiple capacities for years. And we want to share like how we look at resumes as real hiring, like technical security, product consulting, and sales managers. I'm just like naming all the different types of roles that we've been in. And we're reviewing these not as HR professionals, like we're reviewing them as us, as a hiring manager.
Yeah. Totally.
We've seen people seem interested in this topic, so we decided to throw it out there as an idea. And today is our first time that we are reviewing our first resume. We have a few already in the backlog. We hope that if this is an interesting segment, we'll do this on kind of a regular basis. Not necessarily every show, but we'll kind of make it a recurring theme. So with that, we are going to start today with our first resume, which I will be able to share on screen. So those who are watching live and those who are seeing the YouTube can see the resume that has been scrubbed. It's in front of us. And like I said, I have changed the names to protect the innocent. I changed the names to protect the guilty, really, here.
And this is a blind read for me. Sean wanted to keep this interesting, so I have not looked at this at all. So this will be a genuine reaction.
And so this is just a resume. This is not somebody applying for a job. Like Garrett and I aren't actually looking at this resume and saying, hey, this person applying for my job? But you and I are going to take a quick review at this resume and just give our thoughts. So
all right.
The person's name here is Leva Ongoria.
Nice.
I don't know how, but that name popped into my head the day that I was scrubbing this resume and cleaning it for any PHI, and I don't know why that name popped in my head, but I went with it. So I do not believe Leva Ongoria actually has a LinkedIn address, even though it says it on the resume here. Because I cleaned it up, and this is Leva at levaongoria.com. So I'm going to scroll this on the screen. Garrett's losing his mind. I'm going to scroll this on the screen so people can see at home just kind of the resume here. And then, Garrett, I'm going to pass to you for your initial response to it here. So as I'm scrolling, Garrett, as you're scrolling here, I'll be quiet and you can chat about just your initial thoughts.
Sure. So I like the layout. And we didn't even talk about like pre-resume type stuff, but I think we'll talk about that another time, like networking and stuff like that. Like the point being, getting your resume to the top of a stack is an effort in and of itself. But let's say that you made it to this point. I'm now looking at your resume. I love the layout. It gives you a professional summary, just like here's a little bit about this person. Here's some sugary language about, they're highly motivated, dedicated, blah, blah, blah. This is what they do. What I'm seeing missing though is I like to see some wins in the professional summary. Like, hey, here's what I did at my last job. Like, I was able to take, technical sales from 5 to 40 million, or I'm able to, I stood up a security operations center from the ground up. I'm not seeing that here, which again, depending on the job that you're applying for, I want to see that in the professional summary of like, these are my achievement, this is my achievement. Now we can handle that in the work experience, and I'll of course pause before we go to that point, but something to grab my attention of like, here's the problem that I'm going to solve for you. And again, I would highly recommend that you tailor your resumes to the jobs that you're applying for, especially in that professional summary. I'll pause here and pass the mic back over to you, Sean.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks. Quick first glance. All right, I get a sense of your name, kind of that opening. I think that's really important to kind of show who you are, roughly where you're based. You don't need your full address, the LinkedIn LinkedIn link, and actually having a link there. I know we live in the cyber world of like, don't put links in things. You want your link in your resume. You want your you want your LinkedIn link or whatever profile you're sending someone to, which needs to be LinkedIn today. You want your link, you want it to be clickable. So the hiring manager can click on that, get right over to LinkedIn and validate that what's on this paper matches LinkedIn. So by the way, if you're like, what I put on this paper doesn't match LinkedIn, you're gonna have problems there. I want to say
I'm thinking of a great attack. Sorry to interrupt. I'm thinking of a great attack here to where you could use some kind of, bogus LinkedIn login from your LinkedIn link to try to compromise
oh my
the
God.
HR folks.
Oh, what a
But
great
anyway.
fish. What a great fish.
What a great fish.
Hold
right?
on. Next show, how to fish talent acquisition.
I mean,
Let's
anyway,
get into it.
yeah,
Let's set up a pen test scenario for talent acquisition.
That's right.
Let's go.
Sorry.
Let's
I
go.
couldn't resist.
Something to keep in mind: your hiring managers who are reviewing your resume, you got 15 seconds. You have 15 seconds of their attention to potentially grab 30 seconds to 60 seconds of their attention. So if you don't grab their attention in 15 seconds, you're done. And that's the world we live in right now. You look on any job that's on LinkedIn right now. Within 2 days of a job being posted, you see underneath it hundreds.
That's a really good point to kind of underscore what I was saying earlier. Is that summary is to grab my attention so that I will go on to read the rest of your resume. Because I'm going to be honest, the work experience looks great, but each one of these has like almost 10 bullets, like 7 to 10 bullets on them. You better have a great summary for me to actually dig in and read those bullets.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so I like the summary. I like the initial opening. I think the professional summary is nice. Talking about kind of what the person does, what their background is. They hold a bachelor's degree, so the fact that I see bachelor's degree in the first line makes me think something. And yes, we're going to talk ageism here. We're not HR professionals. We're going to just get into it for real. I know you're a little bit younger in this sense, a little bit earlier in career than other candidates. That doesn't make you better or worse. But the fact that you have your college degree in your first line, I'm like, okay, you're younger in career. I already know something about you because you're flexing your bachelor's degree. Yeah. Where some old dude like me, I mean, I'm not flexing my bachelor's degree at the top. So it's just something to note. Do you want to stand out as someone who's a little bit earlier in career? That actually kind of highlights that because you're putting your bachelor's degree up front. Right. That's just something to note. I do like the idea, Garrett, you mentioned, like, what have you done? Like, not only in your professional summary, like, to just kind of talk about who you are, but what have you done? Like, what have you accomplished? I think that is something that's important here.
Right. Because you can describe these jobs and that's great. But again, like, we need to have accomplishments. I mean, I can see, you oversaw budget planning, you managed a SOC vendor, that's great. But again, like, talk about the problems that are being solved, because what you're ultimately doing is you're appealing to this hiring manager's sense of like, what can this person help me with? What are the problems that they can help me solve? I don't know, for me at least, it's a very emotional thing of like, if I'm going through here, I'm looking at this person to say, well, what are they actually going to be able to do for me? And, all these are great. They're just, I would form them in more of like action statements. So like, give you an example: conduct manual alert analysis and remediation through Microsoft SIEM platform and next-gen AV toolsets. How about reduced our threat landscape and allowed us to get quicker time to action through refinement of alerts or things of that nature? Stood up a SIM so that we could get more granular, threat analysis on the incoming alerts and stuff like that. Like, I want more meat on the bone for what those things are doing for me. And maybe that's just me, but that's what I'm looking for in this type of resume.
So to a couple things you mentioned, Garrett, this first job listing here, there's 8 bullets, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying 8 is too many. I'd probably say 9 or 10 are too many. Maybe 6 is enough. So I'm just throwing things out there. But one thing that stands out is these 8 bullets tell me you do stuff, right? And this is kind of aligning with what you just said, Garrett. I have 8 bullets of stuff that you do, but I don't see much detail of what problems have you solved and how have you improved the business? How have you helped the business? So if I scroll down your resume and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like 5 jobs you've had. And it looks like I'll leave the last one off because it looks like you probably did that while in school. So you've had 4 jobs. At this point, you should be able to say, here's the stuff I've done. Like I've actually done so more than just I've done stuff, but I have improved things. So Garrett, to your point, like conduct manual alert analysis. I would like to see something along the lines of, reduced alerts or, closing, resolving high severity alerts or resolving, medium severity alerts, 3 a day or, reducing.
Took our average response time from X to Y or something
what
like
I
that.
want to see at least for every job on this resume, I want to see 2 bullets that give me a number. Right, I want a number. I want a percentage of something you've done. Something that you've I've reduced attacks. I've reduced alerts. I've reduced high severity vulnerabilities. I've for some people's resumes, not this one here, but some resumes, the security people are helping the sales team. In some cases, if you're a security person who's helped the sales team, I'd love to see how much money has the company earned that you've helped, that you've directly or indirectly contributed to. So, you're a security person and the sales team is like, hey, I need you to do this questionnaire for me to close this $1 million deal. And you're like, all right, I do the stupid security questionnaire, give back to the sales team, they send it off to the customer, and then I have a phone call with the customer's third-party risk team. Well, in the end, you come to find out it's $1 million deal. You can put a bullet here that assisted the sales, help the sales team, close business, growing $1 million in revenue. I would like 2 bullets of this resume to each have a number on them.
Yeah, some sort of metric. And again, it depends on the job that you're applying for, but lean in heavier if you're applying for like what I do right now, technical sales. Like obviously you need to talk about the attribution that you had to revenue or your growth in the team. I grew the team from, 4 engineers to 12, all while maintaining, a budget or reduced costs from 20 million to 15 million over 4 years or whatever that looks like. Like again, there needs to be some kind of quantification here.
I'm going to look at probably only the first 2 jobs on the resume. I don't have time to look at the rest. I mean, I might scroll, if I see one of them and it's a company that I know well, then I'm going to go onto LinkedIn and DM somebody over at that other company. If I know,
I'll read the whole thing before I interview you, but like deciding to interview you, you're probably looking at the last 2 jobs. Agreed.
Yeah. So I see one here, overview budget planning for the cybersecurity department. Okay, this is a good example. You said the budget. Give me a number. What's your budget? If you're overseeing the budget, you need to know that. You need to tell me it's $1 million budget. It's $500,000 budget.
That's right.
It's a $20 million budget. Put it on there. Give me that number.
One thing that I am seeing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
go
that was what I was kind of hitting home.
So one thing on the second job, and again, this is kind of personal preference, just a word of advice. You've got a job listed here that you worked for 3 months, 2 or 3 months. If this was not a contract gig and you started this job and left within 3 months, which full disclosure, I've done it. I've done it before. You might want to leave this one off your resume. Cause in 3 months, given onboarding, getting kind of comfortable in your role, like how much change are you actually going to affect in 3 months? And again, maybe you did. Maybe you came in hot. This was a contract gig. You knew exactly what you needed to do, and you did blah 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 blah. Put that in the description. Let's be real. Let's be
March, April, May, June, July. 4 months tops, by the way. They could have started March 28th and got canned, July 2nd, and it's like 2 months, 3 months. You didn't do 6 bullets worth of work.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't pull the wool over
here.
my eyes here, because this is how you don't get an interview. You're like, I worked here for like 3 months and I did 6 bullets worth of things. No way. There's no way you did. There's no way you added 6 bullets worth of value to that company, and you were there for just a few months. So I would agree in that sense of like, hey, it's tough. You want to be honest on your resume. We all know everybody fabricates a little bit, but you want to be honest on your resume. And Garrett, to your point, you could leave this one off. Or if it was a contract, it'd be nice for you to put on their contract work. That way someone's like, oh, it was a short-term contract. You did that in between your last job and your next job. Good for you finding that contract work. But say you get hired and it didn't work out. I would argue maybe just leaving that gap.
Yeah. Because rest assured, I'm going to ask you about that. If you have that on your resume, I'm going to be like, well, what happened here?
Yeah. How did you get 6 bullets worth of stuff done in the 3 months you were there? That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. Like you just got warmed up and you were gone.
And again, if Leva is listening, if your resume is the one we're talking about, don't be upset. Like we're not trying to be too harsh on here. Just this is the harsh reality of resumes. Like I'm looking for red flags. I'm maybe not necessarily always looking for green flags. I'm looking for red flags first to throw them out.
And we also
And
set
then I'm
we
gonna
also set a rule that we can't go for more than 20 minutes on a resume. So we're going
That's right.
fast. Like
That's
we
right.
are for
Yeah.
anyone who does this resume review and for Leva Longoria who may see this, see this review, our goal was to get in here fast and dive
Yep.
into this. Hey Garrett, check this one out. The other IT tech shop, they left in October 2019 and didn't start working again until September 20th.
Yep.
So you got some splaining to do here. What's going on between
Right.
these two? It might
Right.
be okay actually to put a short line to say, was in school, attended school
Yeah.
during this, or sabbatical. On a you definitely want to put that on your LinkedIn. There's something weird about LinkedIn, by the way. I know it's outside of the actual resume. There's something weird about LinkedIn that if your item, your job by job has a gap in it, it kind of
Mhm.
messes up some of the algorithms I've heard for some of the recruiters. So you
Oh yeah.
definitely don't want to leave a space on LinkedIn. You want to put in like took a sabbatical. Nothing wrong
That's
with,
a
by the
good
way, taking time off. There's
that's a
nothing
good
wrong
pro
with
tip.
taking time off. But when you have
Yep.
this on your resume and you and I have never met before, I have no idea who you are. I'm like, this person didn't have a job
Also,
for a year. How come?
if if you've got a year, and this is personal, preference, if you've got a year-long gap in your resume and you didn't do anything to improve yourself from a professional standpoint, I I question like what's going on. And again, like, hey, maybe you were sick. Maybe you had to go take care of a relative, whatever. But still, like, I'm certainly going to ask about this. So if you do have a gap in your resume, be prepared to talk about that because that's something I'm gonna ask about. I worked at my college in the IT department. I had a lot of fun stories from those days, but um, putting that on the resume again, like it better be a compelling story of what you did because if it didn't say when you graduated from your state college, but I'm guessing it was somewhere around 2018. These two jobs kind of overlapped, so I'm gonna like be curious like which one of these was a moonlighting gig. Is this IT tech shop your personal business that you're, kind of putting on there as your, freelance company, which again is fine. Just be prepared to answer those questions.
Yep. Okay, we're just about out of time. We both can give like a 2 minute like wrap up of our thought on this.
Got it.
I generally like the look of the resume. I think the flow of the resume is fine. I've talked about some picky areas. I notice you have some areas where you have a period at the end of the bullet, and some areas where you don't have a period at the end. It's not going to kill things, but attention to detail. Just attention to detail. If you're going to start a sentence with a capital, start all sentences with a capital, which it looks like you do. If you're going to end a bullet with a period, end them all with a period, which you don't do.
Yep.
So just be consistent. What I am not seeing that would make me immediately reject a resume is a tech acronym or a security acronym spelled incorrectly. Like if you were to spell SIM wrong for some reason, I would pass immediately.
Yeah.
So if you're going to throw typical jargon in there, you better get the acronyms right. You did that. I think things look good here. Again, fill in the gaps. Don't leave your gaps empty because I don't know who you are. And put some numbers in each of these bullets and, show me that you've actually helped companies improve in your bullets here. Okay, there's my 2 minutes. Over to you, Garrett.
Yeah, same. The flow is fine. I'm not a fan of like overly stylistic resumes, so this is fine. In fact, when you spend a bunch of time on that, I have to kind of question your decision making ability if you spend a bunch of design time on your resume. But look, this looks fine. I will second what I said earlier. In your summary, tell me about your accomplishments of what you've done. Like I really don't care that you think that you're a highly motivated, dedicated person. Like, tell me empirical evidence of the problems that you've solved. Reflect that within the work experience. I probably reduce the amount of bullets here. Be aware of your timeline. Again, I know we just finished talking about that, but just be aware of your timeline. And if there are gaps, that's fine. Be prepared to talk about them. The last thing that I will say is that you've got a Network Plus cert on here. Certs are certs, but like put in there what that taught you, what that allowed you to do from there. That would be really important information, in your degree, like maybe talk about some of the things that you did within school, especially if you're an early grad, you want to talk about your accomplishments within school. If you're an old person like Sean, then, you might might want to dial it back a little bit and just mention that you have a bachelor's degree in your education area. But yeah, overall, would I throw this resume out? Probably not. I would want to talk to this person.
All right.
And again, it's a numbers game. If I got 100 resumes, maybe I don't even get to this one. I don't know. But if this one was flashed in front of my face and I'm hiring for an analyst type, SOC role, I would probably talk to this person in an interview.
Nice. All right, we're going to wrap it up following the time we have left. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. If your company would like to become a sponsor of Cybersecurity Growth, just reach out to us at sales@cybersecuritygrowth.com. I am Sean Valley. I'm the creator of the show and the music here on Cybersecurity Growth. You can check us out at cybersecuritygrowth.com. You can find all of our shows at cybersecuritygrowth.com/webcasts. You can find me online at Sean Valley or at Cybersecurity Growth. If you like the show, please tell your friends. If you hate it, please tell all your talent acquisition friends. Please like, subscribe, leave 5 stars. Like, hey, great show. I learned how to update the bullets in my resume. Garrett, you don't do the socials. Where can people find you?
You can find me walking the halls of Our State College in Mid-Sized City, Rhode Island.
It's a wonderful school, by the way.
That's right.
They're accepting applications right now for the 2025 school year.
That's right.
This week we had our first resume workshop. Congrats, Garrett. We did it. We've been talking about it forever. We are live on Twitch every other week, sometimes on Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 3:30 p.m. GMT, and we are in your pod feeds and YouTube a few days later. By the way, the times are always wrong, but it is what it is.
It's really whenever we can.
Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us, for joining us on the show today. See you, Garrett.
Thanks, Sean.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.